Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. I wasn't even going to cover anything with AlphaDestiny this week, but he released a video, or OmarIsuf released a video with them training together. A ton of people have asked me what I thought about it, including other people in private messages, people I know who watched it, like, hey, what's going on here? This is my assessment, some coaches and other people. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and talk about it. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And I'm not really going to bash on Alex in this one. I have a history of doing that. I'm really not. But, facts are facts. When it comes to strength levels and everything else that people talk about, let's be realistic here. My only beef with him with some of the training is that he claims to be stronger than he is. And this video actually showed he's respectably strong. Now, he is not, even in terms of relative strength, as strong as Omar is, because people will always bring that up. See, relative strength, well, you guys need to go look at charts and understand how relative strength works, right? There are charts for this. It doesn't go, oh, the multiplier of your body weight. That's not how relative strength works. It's not measured that way anywhere by any expert, by anyone with a background in exercise science, by no strength sport in the world either, because it doesn't actually work. You have charts and categories. He's at a respectable strength level. He's just not as strong as he claims. So I'm not going to say stupid stuff like the guy is weak, because he isn't. He actually is respectably strong. But that's the difference. We saw on the bench press, close grip. And I bench close grip year round anyways. I've done meets close grip. That's just what I do. I prefer close grip. I think it's easier on your shoulders. Yeah, most people can lift a little more with a rider grip, but it's not going to be an enormous amount more. And the close grip is, my personal opinion, a better exercise. So their close grip strength, I think, gives us a good indication of stuff. We watched Omar do 275 for 6 on his peak set, and Alex did 265 for 3, right? Did 265 for 3. That's going to put his bench at around 285. And it's like I told you guys before, even when he was heavier, I said he can't bench 315. I'm not even being a dick saying that. I'm just calling it. He is not capable of legitimately benching 315. Now, was these 265 times 3 he did for his peak set, was that an acceptable bench? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That would pass in a powerlifting meet. If I were judging that, I would have given all of those reps, I would have given them white lights. I would have passed him. I said, that's a legit bench. He paused on the chest, no foot movement, no up and down of the bar on the concentrics. Again, butt stayed on the bench. And, he's probably about a 285 bencher right now. Now, I'd said before, I thought he was 295 to 300 when he was 20 pounds heavier. And that was a fair assessment based on his strength. The problem we have is that, he made all these claims with all the reverse bands and stuff and trying to say, hey, I've got 310 at the bottom, 385 at the top. That's not true, because here's the reality of it. He is a sub 300 pound bench presser. He didn't have 300 pounds of tension at the bottom, and he didn't have 400 or 380 or whatever at the top. He didn't. As this gave us a good assessment of his bench strength. And you know what? I'm not going to diss that. That's respectable. If he can bench 285, legit close grip, weighing 160-ish, 160, low 160s, that's absolutely respectable. There's nothing to hate on there. The problem is that don't claim you can bench more. But I'll give credit where credit is due. I'm going to say a 285-ish bench, particularly close grip at his body weight, that's respectable. That's actually pretty good. Not world class. He's not going to go to nationals in powerlifting in any federation. But looking at just his overall strength, assuming he would ever squat, he could probably place pretty decent in a regional meet. He wouldn't place in the bottom half of the field at regionals in any state. He'd do okay. He'd do pretty good. He's a decently strong guy. Same thing, they get to that overhead press, and they did the pin presses, and I was kind of like, I don't think that translates as well as people think. That half rep, because those were half reps. But apparently people said he's done 5 pounds less recently on camera. I didn't see it then. I'll take people's word for it, because there's people who don't like him even are saying, I don't like him, but he's done 190 with a pause on the chest. Okay, 190 press. 190 press, and even if we'll assume that translates to his 195 off the pins up high. If he can do 190 off the chest, though, I would expect a lot more than 195 off the pins, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. 190 press, when you're 160, I think that's respectable. That is respectable. In fact, that'll Wilks out. If we were to run it into a calculator, Wilks it out. I haven't done it yet. I probably will. It's probably pretty close to mine. Like he's probably right where I am on relative strength, give or take a percent. I'd need to run it through a calculator, but I bet you that's how it's going to come out, right in that ballpark. So not pound for pound, but relative strength on the scales they use. If we were to Wilks it out, he's probably right there with me. He's put some work into his overhead press. I'm not going to diss that. That's respectable, right? That's respectable. He's not as strong as Omar. People say, well, Omar weighs more. Yeah, that's fine. But again, you start plugging some of the relative strength in. I mean, Omar's strong dude. Omar's a strong dude. And I wish Omar would stick with just more of the conventional training and Bulgarian stuff that he did with Greg Knuckles a while back, because I really think that's the way forward, my opinion. I'd like to see more of that. The other thing that was kind of telling, though, we get to the farmers' walks. We get to those farmers' walks. And that's kind of the point. Even Omar said, I thought you had a limited grip strength, because I think he tried to pick up 520 on the farmers' walks and he couldn't hold it. He had to turn it loose. This kind of comes back to the point about the grip strength and the bent bar and the Jefferson block pulls and all of that. Yes, see where that's going? See what a lot of people have said and have talked about the grip thing. He's not really showing his real grip strength. Now, he's struggling with 520 on the farmer's carry handles. Now, I didn't get a close look. I didn't see the diameter of those handles. So, those might have been bigger diameter handles. If they were bigger than a standard bar, bigger than 28 millimeters, okay, you're not going to be able to grip as much. The larger diameter something is, the harder it is to grip. That's why, guys, when you see some of these guys doing the fat grip things, that's sometimes a really good test of grip strength, because it's harder to grip than a smaller diameter bar, right? That's just common knowledge in grip training and people who lift and all that stuff. Common knowledge. The larger diameter it is, the harder it is to hold. Some farmers' walks handles are big. I didn't see the size on those, but the thing is, kind of getting back to that point, I always say, guys, he's a 500-pound deadlifter. Right? He's 500 deadlifter. If he has to legitimately deadlift, maybe 500-ish. And you know what? That's totally respectable. That's respectable. Because assuming he could squat 450, if he could deadlift 500, bench 285, again, if he were to go do some powerlifting, he wouldn't quite qualify for nationals in any of the big feds, but he would do well at regionals. He would do very well at regional meets with that sort of strength level. Again, because he'd be in the 165 class, that's commendable. But the point we get to is that I'm not dissing his strength, because in fact his chin-ups were pretty solid. His chin-ups are still really solid. His pull-ups are solid. That's his strong point. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that in terms of his overall strength, he is strong at pull-ups and chin-ups in general. Those are his best lifts. If you were to really assess him objectively, he is better at that than anything else. And those are useful exercises. I think they're good tests of strength. But the point is, we get over to this fact of his followers seem convinced that he's stronger than he is. And now that we're seeing some conventional lifts and him actually lifting with a lifter like Omar, it starts to become apparent not so much. People, again, will bring up the relative strength. Omar will crush him on a relative strength calculator. You run them through Wilks or anything on their lifts, Omar's going to win. Omar's all around stronger, even for his size. And that was the thing that puzzled me. I may put it in the thumbnail here, some stuff that people showed them side by side. Omar kind of said, well, both training styles work, but do they? Omar has built most of his natural base. Alex has been training over 5 years, been training hard for over 5 years. Omar's a lot bigger and a lot stronger. And I mean that even in terms of frame. He's got a lot of muscle on him. A lot of muscle on him. Considerably bigger, considerably stronger, even better on relative strength. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, no, both styles don't work. Both styles don't necessarily work. And that's, again, just being objective, comparing with Omar. Omar's done daily squatting. All right, Omar's done Bulgarian where you squat every day. Got his squat up over 500 doing that. Again, both styles don't work. Not everything works. Everything works, but some things work better than others, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. Truth be told, people want to follow Alex, that's fine, that's their business, but again, when you really start comparing The performance isn't as good as he claimed. It's not as good as he shows it up to be. And if he was just honest about his lifts all along, there would have never been any. There would have been nothing for me to ever pick on or harass. It was all the oddball, goofball lifts trying to make displays of strength and false claims of strength that caused me to originally tangle with him at all. And that's ultimately what it is. It's doing fake lifts on camera. Or not fake, but, oh, I've got this amount of band tension. This translates to this. It doesn't. It doesn't, guys. It doesn't. And when he went to do it, he couldn't even sumo deadlift 585 even with straps. Not to mention a conventional, but a sumo, he couldn't lift it. He hitched, and he failed the lockout. All right, that's right there, 2 signs that he couldn't actually lift the weight, and that was with straps. So, there you have it. I mean, you have a guy who's in 160, can bench 285, can probably pull 500, can press 190. That's respectable. That's respectable. But if we're going to call that world-class level results, because, again, the guy isn't as big as people make out to be. They act like he's enormous and he's got monstrous traps that go up to his ears. No, man, guys, there are guys under 200 pounds with bigger traps than that who don't do rack pulls. I can think of a few off the top of my head. There are guys who have massively bigger traps than that, who specialize in a certain amount of trap training for their lifting. You know, again, you've got a guy with a fairly narrow clavicle who's done a lot of overhead pressing, a lot of rowing, a lot of pull-ups. All right, that'll build your traps up. But again, when you've got narrower shoulders, your traps will always look bigger. It doesn't mean that they're bigger in terms of if you were to go measure them or DEXA scan his traps compared to some other people. Again, there might not be as much total muscle mass there as you think. It's got decent-sized traps, but at the end of the day, he's not as big and he's not as strong as his fanboys would like to make him out to be. And it's not to say he hasn't done some respectable stuff. He's respectably strong. His relative strength is pretty good. It's by no means weak. But is it national level? Like, is he in the top 2-3%, the top 10%? No, not even close. Not even close. It is what it is. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.